In one of the many public dialogues Krishnamurti held, he was asked to speak about his well-known awakening experiences and whether they had anything to do with the awakening of the Kundalini, a word derived from Sanskrit referring to a latent energy said to reside at the base of the spine, symbolically represented as a coiled serpent. When this energy is awakened through practices such as meditation, pranayama, breath control, and yoga, it is said to rise up the spine through the chakras, energy centers, leading to a state of spiritual enlightenment and higher awareness. The question was, from what we read, you have had strange and mysterious experiences. Is it Kundalini or something greater? And we read that you consider the so-called process you went through as a kind of expansion of consciousness. Could it instead be a psychosomatic phenomenon, self-induced through tension? Isn't Krishnamurti's consciousness made up of thoughts and words? Krishnamurti's answer to this question is emblematic of his extraordinary approach to spiritual teaching. While many spiritual teachers of the time tended to emphasize their mystical experiences as a source of authority and prestige, Krishnamurti did exactly the opposite. He deliberately minimized the importance of such extraordinary phenomena, refusing to be trapped in discussions of supernatural experiences or altered states of consciousness. This attitude reveals the true greatness of his teaching, always bringing attention back to what is truly essential, the understanding of our daily life, our conditionings, and our relationships, rather than feeding the natural human fascination with the mystical and the supernatural. His wisdom is shown precisely in his refusal to place himself as a charismatic figure endowed with special powers, choosing instead to guide people toward a direct and immediate understanding of their own existence. By minimizing his own mystical experiences, Krishnamurti also demonstrates a deep understanding of how attachment to extraordinary spiritual phenomena can become an obstacle to genuine inner transformation. His invitation is always to look at reality as it is, without seeking special experiences or altered states of consciousness, but through a clear and direct awareness of the present. This was Krishnamurti's reply.
I'd like to be simple about all this. Krishnamurti apparently had various experiences. They could be psychosomatic, induced by tension, or pleasant projections of his own desires, and so on. In India, the word Kundalini holds great significance. Books have been written about it, and many people claim to have awakened it. I won't go into all that. Don't get hypnotized by the word. It's a kind of release of energy, so that energy becomes inexhaustible. That's what the word means. But it has other meanings too. What matters is to awaken energy and let it function fully. And the so-called process could also be imagination, and so on. Do all these things really matter? People are said to be able to read each other's thoughts. They're experimenting with this in Russia. Andropov might read Mr. Reagan's thoughts, or Mr. Reagan might read Andropov's. Then the game is over. And if you can read my thoughts, and I can read yours, life becomes terribly complicated and rather boring. They've experimented with this at Duke University in America. They've shown that telepathy exists, that thought can control matter, and so on. This is part of the old Indian tradition. Maybe Krishnamurti did some of these things. But is it really important? It's like taking a good bath after a hot day. A clean and healthy bath with a fresh towel and good soap. But in the end, you're clean. That's what matters. You are clean. Put all of this on that level. Don't give it too much importance. It's not important. Krishnamurti went through all of this. He knows a lot about it. Don't suddenly wake up. Treat all of it as unnecessary. There's energy that has been misused by us in struggles, arguments, pretensions, in trying to say mine is better than yours. I've reached this level, and so on. It's far more important to investigate why human beings behave the way they do today. Not all this triviality. This is triviality. We've discussed this with many people. Some of the people who claim to have gone through this awakening. You know, you have a small experience, and then you open a shop. Do you understand? Do you know what it means to open a shop? I have a small experience of this kind, and then I become a guru. Then I'm in business. I have disciples. I tell them what to do. I get money. I sit in a posture. All that nonsense. So, one must be terribly careful with one's little experiences. But what is important, really important, is to find out, in a sane, rational, logical way, how you are wasting your energy through conflicts, arguments, fears, and pretensions. When all that energy that is usually wasted is no longer wasted, then you have all the energy in the world. As long as your brain hasn't deteriorated due to conflict, ambition, struggle, loneliness, depression, and all the rest, which we've already spoken about, when the brain is free from all that, then you have abundant energy. But if you release some sort of little energy, you may do infinite harm to others. So please don't fall into the trap of those gurus who say, I know, you don't, I will tell you. There are various centers in America, and probably in Europe and India, where one or two people say, I've awakened this strange thing, and I'll tell you all about it. I'll teach you. You know, the good old game. All of this becomes so banal when man is fighting man. The world is degenerating, disintegrating, and you're talking about some small, insignificant experience. And even the questioner says, isn't Krishnamurti's consciousness made up of thought? Like every consciousness, with its content, it is the result of the movement of thought. Your consciousness, with its content of fear, beliefs, loneliness, anxieties, pain, following someone, having faith, saying, my country is the highest culture, and all that, that is part of your consciousness. It is what you are. If you are free from all that, then you are in a totally different dimension. It is not an expansion of consciousness. It is the negation of the content of consciousness, not expansion, not becoming more and more self-centered. Let's move on to the next question.
What clearly emerges from these words by Krishnamurti is a radical invitation not to be fascinated by the sensational, the mysterious, or so-called spiritual power. His is a voice that goes against the current, calling us back to what is essential, our daily life, our inner conflicts, our relationships. It's easy to get lost in the desire for extraordinary experiences, to hope for energies rising up the spine, or powers that make us feel special. But Krishnamurti, with disarming clarity, unmasks all of this as a subtle form of self-deception, a new mask of the ego. The central point is not to awaken something special, but to free ourselves from what blocks the fullness of the energy we already have: fears, ambitions, beliefs, competition. There is nothing to achieve, but much to see, to understand, and to let go. And this understanding is not something mystical, it is something immediately accessible, if there is sincere attention. The real revolution, Krishnamurti tells us, does not lie in mystical experiences, but in a free mind. If this touched you or made you reflect, leave a like and subscribe to the channel to continue this journey of discovery together. In the comments, feel free to share your thoughts. Have you ever found yourself chasing special experiences to escape reality? Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss upcoming dialogues and teachings from Krishnamurti and other great thinkers. Thank you for listening. Namaste.